Hi, entrepreneurs. Today I'm going to talk to you about why your excuses suck. So, my name's Denise Allison, and I'm the owner of Strategro, and I'm a marketing, branding, and social media expert. And I work with small businesses to teach them how to use online marketing and social media to attract customers to their business and grow their business. I am also a recovering excuse maker. So today we'll be talking about excuses in business and marketing. So before we get started, I want to hear from you. So if you're watching, let me know who you are, where you're watching from, and what your business is, because I always have people popping up watching live and watching the replay, but I never know who that is. So I want to know who all my lovely followers are. So make sure that you comment who you are and where you're watching from, so that I'll know who's here with me. And if you do enjoy the content of this video, please share it with all your friends and spread the love so that they can learn as well. All right, so today's topic is why your excuses suck. So the struggle is real. Running a business it's not easy. It's a big challenge. You have a million plates up in the air at once, and you are ultimately responsible for every aspect of your business. So you wear many hats. You're responsible for doing the work, doing the administration and the paperwork, and you're also responsible for finding the work and bringing work into your business, finding your clients and customers. So finding the balance between all of these things can be really difficult. It's a tricky job. So running business is hard, and there's lots of challenges that come along with it. And there isn't really anything in this world that prepares you to be a business owner. Good morning, Shauna. However, we are not at the complete mercy of the business gods. We do have some control over our business, and we can plan for things and we can improve on things. But I see so many business owners who make excuses for why they can't do things or why they can't accomplish things, and they're essentially creating their own blocks for things that aren't even true. It's not even a real challenge. It's a mental barrier that they're creating for themselves. And I've met so many business owners who want to make up these excuses for not doing something. And it always goes something like this. I can't do that because I'm too shy. I don't know how. I don't understand the technology of it. It takes too long. I don't like my voice. I don't like speaking in front of people, and on and on and on. So all these reasons why they can't accomplish something in particular. And I find often when they're talking to me, often it's wrapped up in a statement such as, oh, I'm not a natural like you, and I can't do that. And this always makes me think because, well, I know that I'm super awesome, but I'm not perfect. And I started off knowing nothing. I knew nothing about running business, growing business, or marketing a business. So I've had to work very hard to learn all of these skills, and that's very hard to learn most of the skills that I have now. And I'm always continually working at improving those skills and learning new skills to better run my business and better serve my clients. And I always kind of use myself as the guinea pig and try to figure out what does work, and then I use these strategies with my clients to help them grow their business. Yeah, so that's the way it works. So it's like that quote out there that goes something like this: the expert in anything was once a beginner. And this is definitely true. You don't start off knowing everything. Well, I mean, you start off knowing nothing, really. But I do get that comment a lot of, oh, I can't do it. I'm not like you. So let's talk about that today and talk about why your excuses suck. So there are a few things that if I never got over, I would never be where I am now. So we all have strengths and weaknesses, and some of those strengths propel our business forward, and some of those weaknesses hold us back. But they don't necessarily hold us back because the actual weakness, but it's because we make it to be greater than it is in our own minds. So let's look at some of these perceived weaknesses of mine. So first is introversion. So did you know that I'm extremely introverted? This might come as a surprise to you since you see me here week after week sharing stories and talking about my business and talking about my life. So humor me for a second while I explain what I mean by introversion. So it doesn't mean that I'm shy, and it doesn't mean that I'm scared of talking to people. It means that I get my energy from downtime. So hanging out by myself or with my dog or anything that means hanging out with multiple people, it drains energy from me. So anytime I spend the day with friends, I need to go home and recharge my batteries for a while. It also means that I think a lot. There's lots of thoughts going on in my brain, but I don't say as much as I'm thinking. I say very little unless it's contributing to a conversation. Whereas an extrovert is able to speak a lot without having to think about it as much. And it also means that I prefer having in-depth conversations as opposed to small talk with a lot of different people. So this does create some challenges. For one thing, the first one is networking, and I hate networking so much. And that's because networking events, you go to an event where you don't know anybody and you're supposed to start talking to people. So it's pretty much textbook small talk conversation city. You're gonna go there and you're gonna talk about trivial things with people, or that's how I see it in my mind anyway. So I just don't like networking for that reason, because I really do not like small talk and having those types of conversations. But I do love making friends and helping people. So I changed the way that I think about networking. So instead of thinking about it as networking, I think about it as an opportunity to make friends, because I've met some amazing people through my business and through larger events, and so I think about it that way. It's an opportunity to make friends, and I also think about it as an opportunity to change someone's life. So maybe there's going to be someone there who is struggling with exactly what I have to offer them. So I try to frame it that way in my mind, that one, I have the opportunity to make friends, and two, I have the opportunity to help someone and change someone's life. So the great thing is that since I've been at this for a while, it gets easier. So when I go to an event locally, I tend to know most of the people and they tend to know who I am. So I'm already going to meet with friends and I'm just reconnecting with them and making those relationships that I already have stronger. And that makes it a lot easier to handle. So what happens if you're new at this, or you're going to an event where you're not going to know most of the people? This is my strategy. I pretend to be a super awesome superhero version of myself. And I think that everyone at the event wants to talk to me, and they all want to know what I'm offering, and they all think that it's the most amazing thing in the world. So I try to frame it that way, and it gives me an extra bit of confidence. So one of the things that entrepreneurs always seem to struggle with is that confidence in knowing that what they're offering is helping people. They're helping your target customers. So I want you to frame it as if you're that person that everybody wants to hear from. You're not you for the day. You're the superhero version of yourself. So it's often a matter of getting out of your own head and your own mental blocks and just doing it. So another challenge that introversion creates for me is speaking. So I know I'm here speaking to you, and I do this every week, but that's because I've decided that my marketing strategy and my customer attraction strategy is to speak in front of groups and to connect with my audience through videos on social media. So there are some people in this world who can stand up and talk with little or no planning, and they can talk for hours on end, and I'm not one of those people. I am definitely not. I am not a natural speaker, and I can't just stand up without preparation and give a talk. And if I had to for some reason, it would be extremely mumbly and would probably not make that much sense. So I always thought that it was the public speaking aspect of speaking that was kind of throwing me off, but it turns out it's more the off the cuff part that throws me off. So a couple years ago, I joined Toastmasters for a short period of time, and I learned this, that if I wrote my speech out in advance and prepared for it, I could easily do it. And it was more being put on the spot that was throwing me off than the actual speaking. And I know it sounds a little bit strange because I am an expert in what I do. I definitely know it through and through, but getting the words out cohesively when I haven't planned for it is a struggle for me. So when I first started doing some of these videos, I thought that I could just start the video and start talking because I am an expert in what I know and I'm confident in what I know. And I thought the words would just magically come out of my mouth somehow. I don't know why. Other people seem to be able to do that, but I cannot. So I remember that I'm really bad at speaking if I don't already have a plan. So there have been a few videos that I have announced, oh, I'm doing a video at 10 a.m. and then remember that I can't do that without planning for it. So I was scrambling to write down the notes of what I want to say in that particular video. So I am a great communicator, but I communicate much better in writing than I do verbally. And I think that's because there's more time to stop and reflect about what it is you want to say and how you want to say it and how that's going to come out. But like I said, my strategy for raising awareness of my business is live talks and live videos and videos in general. And that's because I think you make a much better connection with your audience that way, because they can hear your voice and your tone, see your face and your mannerisms, and I think it's much more powerful for that relationship building. So that's my strategy. So how am I going to do that if I'm not great at speaking? Well, the way that I do that is whenever I'm going to give a talk or a live video, I write it out first, and I don't just write bullet points. I write out the whole entire thing as if it was a script, word for word, of what I think I want to say. So yeah, that is an extra step, and it adds a lot of time, and it's time that I don't necessarily have, but it allows me to do what I want to do. So it takes away that barrier that I have, and it allows me to do it that way. So you need to do the same. You need to figure out what you need to do to make these things happen for you, whether it's writing down what you want to say first or some other strategy to help you get over some of these challenges that you might have. So when I first started doing videos, it was horrible, and I'm really glad that some of those are on deleted files on some SD card somewhere. But with time, it's one of those things. With time, it gets better and it feels easier and you get better at it. So you just need to find a way to overcome it and just do it and practice, and it'll come. And so, I mean, look at where we are now. I do a live video every single week. Are they all amazing? Definitely not. And I still would never feel 100% comfortable going off the cuff and not having a plan. And that's just because that is my personality. That is something that I simply cannot do. But I do feel like I'm getting better at it and everything runs a bit smoother. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about today is social media. So let's be honest here. Social media was made for me. And by that, I mean, in my first year of university, Facebook was it had just become the thing. It was a network where you could connect with all of your friends, your new friends, and your new classmates, and it was meant for people at university. It was all the rage. So the actual mechanics of social media, they've never been difficult for me since I've been a user all along. But the mechanics of social media are a really, really small part of social media marketing. It's the smallest part. So just because you know how to use social media, it doesn't mean you know how to use it to market your business. So there's a huge difference there. And one huge mistake that a lot of businesses make is just giving that task to the youngest person on the staff because they say, oh, you know how to use social media, so you're going to do all of our marketing. But they don't necessarily know how to use social media for marketing. It's a very different thing. When I created my first Facebook page for my first business, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know what an algorithm was. I didn't know what engagement was. And I didn't know how to create content. It hadn't even occurred to me that I should be creating content. I was just sharing things that loosely applied to running my business. So guess what? Nothing happened. So I made it my mission to learn about social media marketing. I learned some of it from listening and watching other experts and learning from their expertise. A lot of it came from trial and error of me doing things, seeing how they worked, and figuring it all out for myself and figuring out what works and what doesn't. And I've also hired people to help me out and elevate my knowledge in a way that you can't necessarily do on your own or from trying or from reading from other people. So I've also done that. So the point is, it's taken many years of hard work, and I just didn't automatically know how to do all these things. And I mean, I still don't know everything about social media. Nobody does. But I'm always working to increase my knowledge and learn as much about social media marketing as I can. Plus, things are always changing. There's always new platforms, new functionalities, and you need to learn how they work. And then I need to learn how to fit them into the way that I approach things and the strategies for my business. So figuring out how it fits into my customer attraction strategy and those of my clients. So those are my three perceived weaknesses that I have worked out and addressed and have overcome, which brings me to these final thoughts, I suppose, Jerry Springer's final thoughts. So you can overcome any challenge. You just need to figure out what it is and how you're going to do it. The second is, I know what works because this is my life and I've been there and I'm not just making stuff up. And the third is, don't be afraid to reach out to other experts who are offering what it is you want to learn and get better in. So thanks for joining the show today. If you want to learn more about social media marketing, you can get my free download called 11 Mistakes Preventing You from Turning Followers into Loyal Customers. So you can get that on my website, strategra.ca, under the free stuff tab. And I'll also put a link here or there after the live video is done. And don't forget that I go live every Tuesday at 10 a.m. to talk about online marketing. So I will see everyone again next week at the same time and the same place. All right, have a nice day.